This is Crysis Remastered. We're here on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is a bit of a, I guess at the time, for sure, well-known sort of remastering situation where things didn't really turn out the best for this package, and they actually had to go and take a lot of time to kind of fix things, improve the gameplay experience, and basically go back to the drawing board in order to actually get this touched up. There was a whole thing behind the scenes, and yeah, the game just kind of came out as a bit of a mess, and then it delayed the 2 and 3 because the whole series, the trilogy, got all remastered. But anyways, now the game is in a much better state, and with the overhead of the PlayStation 5 Pro, it is looking and running a little bit better than it did in the past as well, which is quite nice to see. And much appreciated. Did that guy notice me? Yeah, they know something's up, that's for sure. So anyways, we've got 3 different graphical modes here that you can enjoy. This is the primary mode, probably the one you want to spend the most time playing on. It's on by default. This is the quality mode. So the quality mode here, and this is like a next-gen aware kind of update is what we're really getting here, so it sort of inherits, oddly enough, multi-generational visual settings, which you'll either, I don't know, love or just kind of be like, okay, it makes sense. Like, I'm trying to get away. Should I let him get away? What if you tell somebody something's happening here? Does that matter? We just let him go? Okay, anyways, so this is the quality mode. It's 1800p at 60 FPS. Looks clean, looks sharp. It's got all the physics, the gameplay, the action of, well, Crysis Remastered. Pretty cool, right? So this is probably the way you want to play this game. But we do have other options, so let's dive in and take a look at those. So options, video, and there's HDR support as well. Performance mode. So performance mode drops the resolution to 1080p at 60 FPS. So I guess if you want to make absolutely sure you're getting a smooth 60 FPS, but again, with how powerful the PlayStation 5 Pro is, not really needed. But, you know, you do have that option. Actually, I think I was supposed to, like, gather something. Oh, the jamming device. Yeah, I should probably go do the jamming device and get rid of that. So anyways, it makes it a lot murkier in terms of resolution, like the fidelity of it. But, yeah, it's an option for you. And then finally, we have a ray trace mode, which, honestly, a bit odd of a choice to have in this. So, how far back is the level on this? Hopefully it's not too bad. I gotta show this off. It doesn't really do much. Is it gonna send me all the way back to the beginning of the landing of the beach here? Oh, that would be terrible. I hope it's not gonna do that. So the ray tracing mode is also 1080p, but it's dynamic. But it should just be 1080p at 60 FPS. And it has ray trace reflections. So, yeah, just a nice little touch of ambience. So if you are, like, I guess, basically what I would recommend is if you do want to kind of play this game, either quality mode, so that you can enjoy the full fidelity of, well, up to 1800p, of course, or I would say the ray tracing mode. I don't really get the point of the performance mode, as to say in this one. I mean, obviously, it was needed back when this game had problems, and obviously, you know, it is a relic of this game being a part of multiple generations. But, yeah, that or the ray tracing. So, quality or ray tracing, just so that you can have the effect of, like, it doesn't look half bad. at 1080p. Like, obviously, it's a huge resolution drop, but then you can have the ray tracing effects, which adds a nice subtle level of, like, you know, additional realism to the game. But as I said, choice, totally up to you. They give you 3 different options, which I think is fantastic. And it all loads really fast, too, which is kind of expected. And in general, it's a pretty great game, honestly. Like, the mystery of the island, the physics and stuff like that for this game are legendary, and that's why it's always like, can it run Crysis is still... I think that's still a pretty well-known saying. So here's the quality mode, and you can... You know, you can kind of see the difference there, right, for stuff. Anyways, it's a good little testing ground area in this spot. Yeah, can it run Crysis? Yeah, most modern stuff can now, but that's aside from the point, right? It's very well known as being a very technically impressive game. It's got a lot of cool gameplay mechanics. Your super suit of sorts allows you to infiltrate, exfiltrate, and move through this forest environment. Oh, I forgot to disable the GPS. Ah, who cares? Nobody cares about that. So you come to this island, and you're trying to discover what exactly is going on. And you are like a super soldier of sorts, or at least your suit makes you that. You can jump high, you can run fast, you can kind of like get like a bit of a rock hard kind of body thing going on so you don't take as much damage from like more intensive things. And these are all temporary, and they're all matched with the amount of energy that you have available for your character. And that in itself is really, really quite interesting, because you are this character that's powerful, but also, you know, there's limitations to your power. You're not like invincible, but you're a little bit stronger than your average person. And you're in here trying to figure out what's going on. You're using stealth, you're collecting and doing secondary objectives, and you're accomplishing this whatever way you really want, right? Like, there's a lot of freedom in this game. There's a lot of freedom. And it may seem like it's very much your typical kind of combative soldier game. You know, you're going in as a trooper, and you're firing and shooting stuff, and... You know, it might seem like a very basic kind of generic sort of concept, but there is... And if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. There certainly is a lot behind the scenes on this one. And there are some fun surprises and twists and turns. And I think in general you'll be pleasantly surprised by this one. Like, it is quite a genuinely fascinating kind of game. Like, there is a lot to enjoy about it. It's actually a pretty good shooter. There's a decent length to it. It's a legendary game. It's definitely something that if you've played shooter games, you should probably try this at some point. Just because I do believe it has such a kind of a shooter kind of resonance, if that makes sense. Like, it is, aside from the element of this being legendary, where it's like, you know, can it run Crysis, and, you know, that joke that was, I don't even know if that's as prevalent of a joke now, because we've gotten Crysis Remastered, the whole series, right? But it still is a pretty impressive offering. And it's still something that really, aside from being so technically interesting, the story, the gameplay, the combat, the physics type stuff in this, it's all rather genuinely thrilling and fun and engaging. And it's just kind of neat, because there's still lots of games that don't quite have the technical sort of things that this game does. And I'm not kidding when I say it is a very legendary kind of game. And the way they do stuff in this is just really, really quite amazing, you know, like the lighting and the trees and the environment, and it's all kind of amazing, honestly. And the destruction of things, you gotta think too of the time. Like, we've got lots of stuff like this since, but Crysis still sort of holds true as something that was really different, because it was kind of a sandbox. The later Crysis games, they don't Like, they're still really quite interesting, and they're very technically interesting, and, you know, they do a lot of stuff, but they're more linear, they're more set in their approach. Whereas this game is a lot more free and a lot more open, and that's where I kind of mentioned the sandbox element of it. Is a lot of these environments are very... approach them how you want to. At times it almost feels more like a tech demo, which is kind of funny. But, you know, seriously, like, it is interesting. Like, I could, you know, how I want to kill these enemies, I could do so in multiple ways. They're dead anyways. I can't kill them again, unless I resurrect them or something. But even the suit, well, the suit does all kinds of things. But you can tell that this is a very large kind of chained environment that we've kind of come across. And you can, like, use a vehicle, or I could have just walked through all of this, or I could have swam, I guess, if I wanted to. Maybe I could have taken a boat. And you see, like, the map is very large in scale. There's all these different enemies. I can attack them, or I can, you know, sort of run by them, or I could use a cloak and stealth by them. And the sandbox element of it is you're really free to approach the situation, or the situations however you want. There's some levels that are a little bit more restrictive, a little bit more focused, but you really do get these open environments, and it's like, okay, this is your objective, go in, do it, and do it how you want. That's the gameplay. And I think that in itself is really, really quite intriguing, because you get so much player choice, and in a shooter, that's not always the thing, right? Usually shooters are more linear setup, and you know what, I actually quite prefer and enjoy shooters that are a little bit more linear, I'll say that for sure, you know, I like the cinematic beats and everything like that. But I do genuinely find this game to be interesting, and you know what, I like shooters that have some freedom too, if it's done right, and just mostly saying, like, you know, the COD stuff, some of their stuff's gotten a little bit more open, and I'm just like, but, you know, this one's just really cool, because you can really tackle the situations however you really want to. Go in guns blazing, be sneaky, or you can just mess around. That was a thing too back in the day. A lot of people would kind of sit here. Did I go to like entirely the wrong place? Yeah, I don't even think I'm supposed to be here actually. This is like a secondary objective, isn't this? Like a secondary thing. But yeah, I could go in, I could do a main mission, I could do side stuff, I could just fiddle around with the physics, which again are kind of a joy. Like, this game's physics system is quite fascinating, with how stuff breaks and how you can move objects and things. Like, it really was quite technically groundbreaking at its time. Like, genuinely impressive. And that's what makes this so fun and engaging, is just kind of looking at it from a perspective now where it's like remastered and it's looking better than it ever did. And there's like a certain charm to it for sure. Like, I think this is a very nice remaster. It came out as a mess. Great reviews, by the way. And then they, you know, the developers came in and they fixed things up. Oh, look at the penguins. And then they released the 2 and 3 remasters. And I think in the long term, it all kind of, you know, all kind of worked out pretty well. And I think now people can just enjoy a genuinely impressive kind of game. See, like, look at this. Like, isn't that just, like, neat that you could just, like, randomly pick up pieces of paper, and it's like, why, right? Like, what do you get from doing this? Like, what is the point of it? Picking up stuff and, like, throwing it, and, like, you know, it doesn't really do anything for the gameplay or the environment or anything like that. Well, I guess it makes the environment more interactive. But it's just the idea of all these, like, physics-based things that you can kind of, like, smash or bash or just interact with. Like, it's real life simulation. And then it is funny, though, because in the sequels, it's, like, much more action, much more linear. They do very different things, especially as some of the secrets are revealed in this game. Like, there is a lot of surprises.
Check those terminals. See if you can access their
That's the thing too, is it's like, it's kind of hard to talk about from a perspective where it's like, I think some people might be looking at this for the first time, and it's much cooler to actually not have the full scale of this kind of, I guess you would say, revealed. or spoiled, because it's really neat to discover that for yourself when you're playing.
You thought this would be easy? Think again. Kyung means business, and he's got the KPA's elite special forces unit watching his back.
This is a very cool shooter. I don't like the checkpoint reach slowdown, things like that, but... You know, where was I actually supposed to go? To the checkpoint thing? Break through the checkpoint. Yeah, I totally went, like, way out of the way. I don't know why I felt I needed to do that. It's just, like, it is kind of neat to be back and playing this, because it has been... Yeah, it's been a while since I played Crysis, and I just saw this on the list of game options that were available, and I was like, oh, this would be a lot of fun to revisit. There's like the trees you can break stuff to, and...
Use grenades to blast your way.
No grenades needed, my friend. I'm gonna just drive.
There's something here you need to see.
What have you got, Prophet?
Just get up here. You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
On my way.
I need to get out of this. I slink away, and it's like I was never there. See, isn't that kind of neat? That's the idea. Is it's like it's the ultimate suit. It's not ultimate as in you're like godlike and well, you kind of feel a little bit stronger, but you're not invincible. It's just something that complements the abilities you already have and just allows you to tackle the challenges. I can't believe like the scale of this map too for the time, just like how large it is. Like you really feel like you're landing on the island and then making your way through, because you come down from the island, you get this beautiful opening where you get to see, you know, the whole island, and then you land, and then stuff goes wrong and blah blah blah, is, you know, normal kind of situation for a story, and then you go in and you start exploring. And you move from position 1 to position 2, but it's open, and it literally, like, it feels like you're naturally moving through this island, and that in itself is so wonderful. It's so well done.
About time you showed up.
Well, sorry. How did this get here?
Looks like someone had a little trouble parking their boat.
We seem to have hit a dead end. I've lost our secured channel to JSOC. Too much electrical interference on this island.
Hey, boss! I got something. Topographic map. There's an area highlighted.
This valley here must be where the excavation site is located.
How can you...
And there might be some larger vehicle type stuff too in this one that's pretty fun to use.
I'm not going
Anyways, it's a great shooter.
Give me some
It really does offer a lot to do.
and locate and evacuate.
I think it would pleasantly surprise you if you never played it.
Since when do the North Koreans have
Or if you want to revisit it, it's really nice looking on here. It looks clean, looks sharp.
To a bloody comic book here.
I've told you everything you
I
need.
guess the only disappointment is it doesn't inherit a slightly higher resolution threshold, right?
The first idea what killed him.
I saw him up close, boss. He was mutilated, ripped in two. I mean, what are we dealing with here? Cause it ain't just Korean.
Chester's right. If this Rosenthal guy was a proper nut, we wouldn't be here.
Cut the crap, Psycho. You've all been fully briefed. Our job is to find those people, and that's what we're going to do. We're moving out now, and that's in order.
Something's here.
Uh-oh. Well, surprise. Guess that might be a bit of a spoiler thing. Chester! Now, did anyone see that coming? That hasn't been watched or hasn't played this before? That'd be a fun little surprise, right? If you were just like, this is your first time seeing this game, you'd be like, what? Kinda cool. Why is my squad so far behind? We all have the same suits. A loading screen? On the PS5 Pro?